welcome back. Now tuned into the other side of sports. I'm your host, Laws. I know, Aaron, people probably looking at me like, why you dressed like a homeless man or 14? Dog, I was last night, bro. I had the shivers. Dog, I ain't been like that in a minute, bro. You sick when you work from home and you like, nah, don't. I can't even look at emails, nothing. Dog, I was in a dark room for 24 hours straight, not moving. Good thing is though, it's not Rona. Well, as of right now, because I've taken two tests, and then but I'm gonna keep testing and just make sure. But dog, bro, this joint is no joke, bro. Then this joint hurting. But of course we here. You know what this is? This is dedication. No, this is dedication. And whenever there's stuff out here, we gotta talk about it. We gotta talk about it. So I'm gonna fight through whatever I'm doing. We gonna get to it, okay? But before we get into what I know the people are here for, because there's some news that came out today, Aaron, and we gonna get into it all the way and talk about it. But before we get into that, I saw this post last week. Shout out my man Jeremy. He sent this post and I saw it. And of course, I had some commentary for it. Let's take a look real quick.
Hey you guys, so I wanted to give you guys a quick little tip on how to make a first impression last. Okay, so I've been talking to someone for literally like 2 days now, and we decided to have our first meetup, link, date, whatever you want to call it. And just through our conversation, I know for a fact he is an avid cigar smoker. He enjoys a good cigar over a glass of brandy or whiskey. I can't remember which one. I think it was whiskey. But I picked up on that little mental note. And I remembered that my dad is an avid cigar smoker and he has a really nice collection. So before getting on the road for our date today, I decided to stop by my parents' house and actually pick up a cigar. And my dad actually threw in a cigar cutter. And my mom, being the mom that she is, was like, oh my God, Samara, you can't take it just like that and hand a cigar in a cutter, wrap it. And I'm like, well, what do I have to wrap it with? Her crafty self had some twine in a paper bag. So I wrapped his cigar in literally a paper bag I folded up and some twine, and I really hope this is a good first impression.
Okay, we had that part. Then we got the follow-up.
So here's an update. He loved the gift. Loved it. He said he's never received like a gift on a first date ever before, so it really made me stand out. And we actually drove to a little point in Baltimore that is his favorite spot. It was by the water, and we actually stayed in the car because it was cold, but he showed me how to cut the cigar. He explained like the whole breakdown of cigars and how there's different levels, and we actually got to smoke the cigar, and he showed me how to smoke it properly because in the past I used to choke. But he definitely told me like this made me stand out, and he's very appreciative for me just listening and picking up on little things. And he actually surprised me by taking me to a record store because I mentioned to him I was trying to grow my vinyl collection that I had. So he surprised me as well. And yeah, ladies, I will keep you posted on this one because he's a good one.
Local joint.
Downside to talking to this young dog, she from Baltimore. You can't be messing with. It's like, nah, we ain't gonna do our be more. They right up the way. They right up the street. Dog. So let me just say this. There's some key elements in this that if you're a single woman out here in the streets and you desire to be married, right? There's a key mindset that this youngin has that will go a long way to her getting, to the outcome that she wants. Now, the first thing is, I'm just an advocate for moms and dads in households because one of the key elements in that first clip was that she said she went home to her mom and dad and talked to them about it, right? That support system, that having an awareness of a unit that's together, that's working together, knowing what goes into it, right? The fact that she thought about her dad's cigar collection, she was like, okay, I want to make a good first impression. And I think one of the key things or key elements in this whole thing was that she wasn't going into the situation figuring out what he was going to do for her.
Ding,
Like
ding, ding, ding.
it wasn't an entitlement there that was like, it's like, I want to do this because I want to, give a first impression of what kind of person I am. Like, I think Beyonce had a song, right? I think it's called Cater to You, but it's just talking about like how men want to be catered to, men want to be thought about and whatever. And so I know when I say that it's triggering because I know there's some women out there. You can share this with all your women friends. I'm married, so you can come for me all you want. It don't matter. It's gonna bounce off me like Superman. But one of the key things is that if you were triggered by me just saying that, cater to him, it's like, oh no, he need to be thinking about me. He need to be trying to make a first impression.
How old are
You
these women?
ain't single. I don't. It don't matter. I mean, she
It
look
do
middle
matter
age. It do matter, but
because the
that's what I'm
bidders.
saying.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, no, no. A key piece to this is, you know, we starting dating around like what, teenagers, and then early
Hmm.
20s. Men chase women. At a certain point in our adulthood, that axis flips, and the numbers just don't line up with the way society kind of ingrains in people's minds that things are. It's no more Disney movie, and so a lot of women are in delusion about what's really going on. They think they out here vetting, but the what's really going on is you got to get chose. Like the
You
men are
gotta
out here
get.
deciding and vetting like this drink go in this category, this one go in another category. You know what I mean? And so just because a man asleep with you doesn't mean you're a viable option for a wife.
There it
And
is.
so when we have these conversations, a lot of them, oh, these men want me, they want to lay with you, but are they dating you to vet you to be a wife? The answer is no, most of the time. So you can bitter and rah rah rah. If you're not married, you don't really have a say in what's going on in a man's mind when he's choosing a wife versus somebody that he's just gonna lay with. Because regardless of how many times we try to tell women this is what we want, this is what we think, and they say no, 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 that's not what y'all thinking. It's like this. This is you know what I mean. It's just and it's like okay, okay.
I'm just saying her approach was different. She said some other things. She said he said to her that this definitely made you stand out, and it's definitely. And then guess what happened? This Bama reciprocated it in his own way. He was like, "Oh, this youngin' different. Oh, let me see what I can do for this youngin. Let me see if I can find a record store around here. And like, I know she's trying to grow a vinyl collection. I'm gonna get her a nice little Ronald Isley Jones, something, like because what I'm saying is the crop out here is very dusty, dog. It's very dusty crop out here. So if a youngin can stand out like out from the jump like this,
It makes a difference, a
it makes a
significant difference.
huge difference. You could be a bum joke, you could be terrible, all that, but he gonna look at you with rose-colored glasses at least for the first 48 hours because you stood out.
And what that also does is, let's say hypothetically, he like, yeah, she might not, I might not be, I can't see myself with this youngin. The way he'll
Mhm.
handle you and the level of respect that comes with him understanding that he's being heard. And I don't just mean, oh, I've done stuff for men, but no, like understanding that you being heard and you don't have to like, you know what I mean, pat yourself on the back or constantly repeat it. She's just listening when it's not even supposedly that significant. She's just listening to what you say and what you like and being thoughtful. Like the BAM will handle you different. Like even when it comes to maybe things going to the next level, he gonna have a conversation with you
It-
different than a youngin that is just he like, oh, it's another one of these joints. She wants something. He might just lay it down and then
and that,
fade on her after the fact. So it's just the way you handle youngins that you know are thoughtful and respectful. Not for every dude, but for dudes who you claim you want to be married to, it makes it different.
correct. Correct. It makes a huge difference. I tell people all the time that like, one of the things my wife did early on is when we went out on our first date, I paid for the first date. And she was like, you paid for me like on a date, and like I'm gonna treat you next time we go out. She's like made that definitive. So in my mind, I'm like, man, okay, really? All right. Like, you
Because
know what I'm
all
saying?
youngins say that. But
All youngins say that, right? And you hear the stories, youngins, do funny business with their car. They put a card out like, oh, I'll pay half. Like, and then they really not going to do it. Like, it's all fake. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then we went out on a second date and she paid, dog. I had forgot. I was like, go to pay. She's like, no, I got you because you paid the last time. And like that was different. I was like, hold on, y'all, this young get y'all different. Because most people come into these relationships like expecting stuff like you gotta do for me. It's selfish oriented. And you can't a real true relationship, when you talk about marriage, a true real relationship, marriage is about selflessness. It's about thinking about the other person in front of yourself. I've been sick, curled up in a ball. My wife been coming downstairs, bringing me soup, all types of stuff. Oh, baby, you okay? You want something? Like, I can get you something from the store. Blah. Like, and if the tables were turned, I'd be doing the same thing for her. Like, it's just different. It's not like, I'm telling you, this youngin', she on the right path. Now, the other caveat to that is the type of dude she's interested in, the type of dude she's like talking to, because that's a process in itself, right? But like her mentality and her mindset going into it, that is, she got a winner's attitude. She definitely got a winner's attitude. I don't know how old Youngin is, but she figured it out.
and the
She
only other
figured
thing
it out.
I want to add that kind of stuck out to me is like when she went to her dad to get a cigar and a cigar thing. There's a lot of situations where the mama be like, "Nah, what you doing? You know what I mean?" Like the mom was in full support also of her being
Mm.
thoughtful and you know what I mean, wrapping the joint and the
Mhm.
whole production. You can tell the family kind of like thinks as a unit in a way, just from what you can take from that piece. You can
Yes.
see like the
Yes.
philosophies or whatever that's coming from mom is the same thing coming from dad. Not necessarily two people that just had a kid with two different philosophies and they fighting and
Mhm.
clawing, trying to pull a kid in their direction. It
Yeah.
just as it relates to that, like it stood out to me because a lot of moms, especially in our um and like that generation from us and down,
Mhm.
like nah, you know what I mean? Like
He need to be thinking about you. What are you
yeah,
going to get you? Or wait, you going to get him
or you
something? You
doing
don't
too
even know.
much.
You don't even know this guy. You doing? Oh yeah, you heard that before. You doing too much. It's like, yeah.
You
Do you
being
want to get
pressed like that kind
chose?
of thing,
Do you
right?
want to get chose, or do you want to be out here?
We gotta get her on the show, and I want
I'm
homeboy to
trying.
come on the show too. We gonna find both of them. Let's have a conversation.
Facts, facts. Okay. Uh, now on to the nitty gritty, dog. If I pass out on the show, just call 911, okay? Uh, Brian Flores sues the NFL, the Giants, Dolphins, Broncos, claiming racism in the hiring process. Former Miami Dolphins head coach Brian Flores has filed a class action lawsuit against the NFL, the New York Giants, the Denver Broncos, and the Dolphins, claiming racial discrimination in the league's hiring process for coaches and executives. Flores filed the suit in the 7th District of New York on Tuesday. In it, he accuses the Dolphins owner, Stephen Ross, of offering him $100K for every loss in an effort to tank for the number one pick during the 2019 NFL season, and includes texts he alleges are from New England's head coach Bill Belichick, demonstrating that the Giants conducted an interview with Flores while knowing that they intended to hire Brian Daboll as a head coach. The suit alleges that the Giants interviewed Flores simply to satisfy the NFL's Rooney Rule mandate requiring that teams interview minority candidates. Duh. Are we surprised?
I mean, we all knew this is what was going on behind the scenes because you constantly have these black coaches that get interviewed off the break, and it was kind of funny this year in particular. The top three coaches names that were being mentioned when the hirings first opened up were all black. It was, oh, Flores got fired. Look at his record. He's the best coach available. He's gonna have his choice of teams to pick from. It was kind of the same thing with Leftwich, where, oh, it's a no-brainer. He's gonna end up with Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. And I kept saying, you never see black guys inherit these kind of quarterbacks. They always give these elite top blue chip quarterbacks to white guys. Like they don't give these kind of jobs with these kind of quarterbacks to black coaches. It just doesn't work like that. And so
Mhm.
even when everybody kept saying, "Oh, it's done. He's in Jacksonville," I was like, I haven't seen them give these kind of jobs to black coaches. And
I think this whole lawsuit thing kind of will make it happen now. I think it's probably going to help Leftwich
the
because
thing is, I
they
don't.
probably were looking to pull a fast one.
So the thing with these kind of people though is it's like with Cat, like they're gonna dig further in the ground, not go the other way. Like these are billionaires you're talking about, and they could, if they felt, if they were genuinely equal opportunity, black coaches would be getting hired because the league is 70% black. It's black coaches all over the field. They just don't get the head coaching jobs at the end of the day. You try to tell me they're not qualified? When you look at Eric Bieniemy's offense, when you look at what Tom Brady was able to do at 44 years old on a new team with Byron Leftwich as the coordinator, when you look at the Bills defense, you know what I mean? It's a bunch of different places you can look and see black coaches excelling, but they just won't get the head coaching job. And even when they do, like Flores, and they win at a better clip than any white coach that they've had in 10, 15, 20 years, you still end up getting fired. Or Wilkes and with the Cardinals get fired
Mhm,
after your first season. Or the guy in
mhm,
Houston get fired after your first season.
mhm.
It's that kind of stuff that black coaches have to deal with that white coaches just don't generally have to deal with. Especially when it's only three coaches that were black in the league last year and two of them get fired. It's ridiculous. And then the first
What
three
need
hires
what
they make are white boys.
what needs to happen? How does this change? Will it change? What's going to happen in this lawsuit?
It's funny
Is
because
he
we
going to
mentioned
get
this
paid?
like 3, 4 days ago, what needed to happen for progress to be made with these coaches. He's going to get paid. And the
Mhm.
Dolphins owner, if he can prove that he was going to pay him the tank, he may end up losing that team. They may end up
You
forcing him
think
to sell.
so?
They're going to posture like, I don't know if what's in the rule books for them to be able to do it. I don't know if it's like the inappropriate behavior with the like the Panthers owner, but they're going to posture like this is unacceptable, and maybe there'll be a suspension where they suspend them for a year or something like that. But I mean, it's ridiculous that you have to do this, and the fact that he's filing this lawsuit, he's
He
probably never going to get a head coaching job.
this
But
is all this is his only move. The thing is, he wasn't going to get a head coaching job. Some people were probably thinking like, well, why would he do this? Like this kills his chances of getting. They weren't going to hire him to begin with.
it's like Cat, though. He knew he wants to play. Like the dude wants to coach, but when he starts looking at the guys that are getting these jobs who aren't even on the radar, who weren't being meant, you know what I mean? Like he's proven he can coach an NFL team, a team that was supposed to be trash, that he had winning football games 2 straight seasons, and then you get fired. So it's just a double standard. And until they start, like, Denver's up for sale now, and they have the guy from Denver, isn't it Robert Smith, the
Mhm,
black billionaire? You got to get
mhm,
black ownership in these meetings, in these good old boy meetings, to make different decisions. Because as long as
mhm.
they've been in charge, and they have been, it's less black coaches now than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So it's just
No, and the
ridiculous.
thing is so crazy because, like you say, 70% of the league is black. Who better to coach? Like it's like just for just to clarify for people, right? Who am like if I have a good relationship with my dad and then it's another dude over here, who's gonna be better at coaching me? The person I identify with, have these similarities with or connected to, or this Joe Schmo over here that I don't have any really connection to. They don't understand my struggle. They don't have to experience the things that I experience in life. And it just, and yet these dudes are okay with being coordinators and being up under a guy, but something's got to change. I mean, we always talk about the league and just how racist it is, but like this is bad. The Bama text them, say congratulations. The wrong Brian, huh? Jump crazy, bro. Jump crazy. Um, do you think what do you think the payout is going to be, Aaron? Are we having technical difficulties?
Can you
I
hear me?
can't hear you. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah,
What do you
I don't
think the
think it's any
payouts?
way to. Yeah, I don't think it's any way to tell. It just depends on how much he can prove. I think the
Mm-hmm.
Bill Belichick texts are that's kind of an indictment if he already knew and was texting Daboll 2 days before Flores'
Oh
interview.
yeah.
Like, why would that information even get to Bill Belichick to begin with? But if he can prove the owners telling him to tank aspect, that is a whole nother what do you call it? That's just a whole nother world because
Mm-hmm.
that's really what's going to end up having him cash out. Like this Bama had me losing games, you know what I mean? Which is going to, as a black coach, you can't afford to tank or lose games because just like Wilkes, it doesn't matter how bad the team is. Just like with Houston, if you lose as a black coach, they're like, oh, it doesn't work. See, we tried, and then you get cast aside, and you don't get that second chance. Like Hugh Jackson, if you look at who's the other guy? Huge
Marvin Lewis.
Caldwell, all of
Mm-hmm.
these guys, like once you get cast out as a black coach, you don't get that other go around that like a Bill Belichick gets or that
Mm-hmm.
Shanahan or Gruden, all of these other white
Mm-hmm.
coaches get fired and picked up like Adam Gase. Like they just get retreaded
Josh
to another place.
McDaniels.
Josh, yeah, you don't get that next go round. You end up a career coordinator.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, I agree with you, Van. It's probably gonna be undisclosed. What are you asking for if you Flores? 50
A
mil?
football team. I'm asking for everything. You're not gonna get it, but you asking for everything. Because if you
Yeah, this
have owners out here saying that they're purposely tanking and it's supposed to be parity in the league and all this other stuff, like that goes 100% against what the brand of the NFL is supposed to be.
mhm.
That's some NBA stuff. You know, like, people mock the NBA for Bama's tanking. Like tanking in football, even though they were saying tank for Tua, the owner can't come down and say that.
Yeah. The thing is, this seems like for some strange reason, it seems like it's probably was brewing underneath the surface. Like he probably was like looking at everything and was like, dog, these Bamas is like they just lying to me like I'm an idiot. And that's the thing for me. And when people treat me like I'm an idiot, that's when I get upset. Like I be like,
And social intelligence, though.
yeah, like it's like, dog, if we do this, he ain't gonna know. Like it don't matter. Ooh, ooh. So yeah, he probably was like, "Oh, all right, I got you, I got you," because nobody ever really like it. It's a what do you say, career suicide when you bite the hand, right?
Yeah,
Um,
it's gonna be like Cap. He's not gonna get a job. He finished. He might not even. Well, I don't know if an owner would block him from getting a coordinator job, but why would you take a coordinator job if you've proven you're an NFL head coach and you win in the
mhm,
NFL?
yeah, yeah, nah, I don't know what they gonna do, dog. They gonna have to pay the man if he can prove it. I mean, them some strong allegations on paper. He
Yeah,
got
we
text
already seen the
messages.
text. I seen the text, so that's a fact. It's just a matter can he prove Stephen Ross told the Bama to tank, and he's gonna pay you $100,000 per game you lose.
Dog, you think they will put that in writing?
What through text? Nah, he would have dropped those texts, but maybe other people were in the room that he can say whose side you on. Like if it, let's say other black coaches is in the room and they also don't have a job, or they
But
potentially were his
but
coordinators and were on the outside.
you know how that go though.
Yeah, football is where
That get
Black
dicey.
Bama's highest coon level is as it relates to the NFL.
The coon, yeah,
Every
that
time
jump off the charts. The coonery off the chart.
you take your
It's
most
cool time.
staunch black person, dog, and you put the NFL in the equation and the team they root for, coonship activated every time. We see it. We see it right here in this city all the time. So
All the time, dog.
it is dicey, but Bama's do got to feed their family, and We was talking about it the other day. A lot of these coaches, if they weren't coaching, and I meant the white coaches, not necessarily the black coaches, they'd be stacking boxes at UPS. So when you take that into account, that Bama's have devoted their whole life to football, that's how they feed their family. Like you get that Bama's ain't
Yeah.
exactly lining up to go
Yeah,
against
the bite the
their
hand, yeah.
their highest paycheck, but at the
Yeah.
same
Cause
time,
it ain't
somebody got
because
to
you
make a
can't you
choice.
can't you can't get this at UPS. You can't get this
Yeah, you can't
at
get this at Bowie
Walmart.
State or Howard.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you can't just go coach college football and
Uh-uh.
get the same check you getting in the league.
Uh-uh.
So yeah, it's a slippery slope, but somebody got to sacrifice to move the ball forward. And
I
look like
mean,
Flores then stepped up.
Flores done stepped up. Wasn't he clowning? What's his name for doing this?
He was clowning, but you know, Bama's be
Kenny
cooning for Jay
Stills.
Z too. He was cooning for Jay Z, standing because remember the issue was when Jay Z took that job with the NFL. Um, People were saying, "Hold on, what you mean we passed Neil and then you just gonna take a job with them?" I thought we were protesting. And then all the Jay Z stands were like, "Well, Jay Z must have another plan. It's not just about singing and dancing. He got, you know what I mean?"
You
And then
already
you
you
look up,
already know.
and where are we? Less black coaches than it was when he took the job. You know what I mean? So it, it was more
Dog.
related to Jay Z and in the stance that Kenny Stills and Cap were saying, like, what is Jay Z doing versus being against
Mhm.
moving the ball forward for black
My
players.
have the tables have turned.
And when you
Alabama
look up,
he need them now.
yeah,
He probably calling Kenny Stills on the phone right now. Be like, hey bro,
I'm
I
sorry.
told you. I'm sorry. He wanna I'm sorry, dog. I ain't mean to. These Bamas is dastardly. I didn't
Oh,
even
y'all
know
was
it was
right.
the
Y'all was right. My bad. You know how it is sometimes. You know I'm from Brooklyn. We gotta protect the God. You know them New York Bama's stick together, no matter what.
dog. No matter what, dog. No matter what. Hilarious. Bro. Dog, this junk gonna get this yeah, it's a slippery slope. It says from the lawsuit, it says while racial barriers have been eroded in many areas, defendant the National Football League lives in a time of the past as described throughout the class action complaint. The NFL remains rife with racism, particularly when it comes to hiring and retention of black head coaches, coordinators, and general managers.
And
No, it's
coaches.
a problem. It's a problem. They not it's all a front. It's all the front. I'm even to the point where I'm convinced that all they do is just say it on TV because just saying it on TV puts it in people's minds, and then it's like, oh, okay, like it like calms black Twitter down. Like it's like, oh yeah, these top candidates, these black coaches, yeah, they going to get a job, blah blah, and then it's like black Twitter just calms down, like, oh okay,
And then
uh,
white guy hired, white guy hired, white guy hired. Sean King was the only one like keep beating the drum like, yeah, these Bama's wild. There's only one white coach. And I think we all wanted to believe that. First of all, the crop of black coaches is amazing this year. Like, no doubt, Leftwich should be hired as a head coach. Flores should be hired as a head coach. Bieniemy should be hired as a head coach. And then they were also talking about Mayo from New
mm-hmm,
England, and the D coordinator for San Fran first year, D'Amico Ryans. We talking about five guys that are supposed to be legit, like,
mm-hmm,
candidates, and they were talking
mm-hmm.
about them right when the opening started. Then you see it starts to, like you said, fizzle down, fizzle down. Black people get quiet, and then they go, okay, let's bring our white guys in, and they really hiring these Bama's. You don't even hear about the interview. You just hear, oh, they hiring this joker.
Dog, the coach didn't they hire a coach out in Chicago?
Yeah, and they hired a
And they
black
got black,
GM, and he
to
go and
me,
hire a white boy.
but to me, I don't think he had a hand in that though.
He
I
said
don't,
he's not taking the job unless he get to pick his head coach. He was beating his chest on that one,
but you know, but
and he
Aaron,
mixed.
like I know, Bama's beat their chest behind the scenes. They
But
kiss
you
in the
also know
ring
that
like
mixed
everybody
Bama's
else.
be 50-50.
Oh yeah, Duh,
You
I
see
just
Dak,
yeah,
you see Mahomes. These Bama's usually lean on the other side. What's the other Bama in the NBA? Uh, what is his name? The Bama that we wanted in the draft that we took that bum Brown.
Kwame.
No, the small forward that was playing with DC Go Go like 3 years ago. The
I
point
don't know.
guard, small forward out of Oregon. I can't think of his name. His last name is Brown.
Oh, uh, um, not Otto. Troy Brown
Troy
Jr.
Brown. Yeah. That year
Yeah.
we took Troy Brown Jr. Who was the dude that we were clamoring for that Denver took? The mixed Bama. Who's
Michael
MAGA.
Porter.
Michael
Michael
Porter
Porter.
Jr. Yeah. Like if you look at all of these mixed Bamas, dog, it'd be debatable on what side they are. Especially if Pops rolled out and Mom's raised him and Mom's is white, dog. You could cancel Christmas. That's what it's looking like. These Bama's be strong MAGA.
Dog, yeah. Dog, yeah. Dog, I don't know. Like, yeah, this junk crazy, dog. Is this junk crazy? Something's gotta change. Something's gotta change. Um, Speaking of MAGA Mahomes, dog, what happened, bro?
He choked. He choked.
Is it that simple?
The Bama choked. He made that one dumb play right before the half where he
That
passed backwards, and after that, his brain was fried. Though I, I don't know what happened, but you could see it. He was missing layups. Like his brain was fried. I'd never seen this Bama playing like this.
dog, he regressed all in one half. He just went from the best in the world to the worst in the world in one half.
His
Then at the end of
legacy.
the game, I don't know what he was doing. Like he was like, even when they needed to score, you know my philosophy, dog. We score. We worry about just like you score. And I know that their defense has not been stellar in late games to be able to get them stops and do different things, right? But still, you got to score. And he going out there playing around, twirling around, running backwards. I'm like, what are you doing, dog? And they, of course, they got the field goal to tie it, go to overtime. I think everybody's assumption was that if they got the coin toss, that they would win, but it just didn't go that way, dog. What happens to Mahomes, dog? What happens to his legacy? I know you were about to mention his legacy.
No, I mean, it takes a big hit. It's almost taking the path of like a Peyton Manning, where he comes in the league and you see how great his talent is and how great he can be. And of course, he got a Super Bowl way earlier than Peyton. But you know how people were beating the drum like Peyton is the best they've seen. But then when you add up the things that have happened in the past two off seasons, especially this last game, you get kicked out of that GOAT conversation. You can't have that conversation right now. The way he choked, it's one thing to get outplayed and lose. He
Mhm.
caused them to lose the game.
Yeah, if he would have lost, if he would have lost the game before versus Buffalo, I think everybody would have just been like, I mean, he did all he could do.
His
Like,
defense trash. That's what they would have said.
yeah, defense trash. But this game,
And you had the game. You were up 21-3. Like you can't dismiss that part. If they get that field goal before the half, they win the game easily. I think that momentum switch gave Cincinnati life. So when you come out in the first half and you have the ball and don't score, it's like, okay, we in the game now. If they take it 24, it wasn't 21-3 a half. It was like what, 21 to
21-10.
10. If they get that field goal and make it a two-score game,
Mhm.
to me that changes everything.
Yeah. I mean, it just seemed like they came out of halftime and they took their foot off the gas. And I don't know if this is a stat, but them Bama's punted a lot in the second half, though.
He was missing the little bubble screens, like all of the easy layup throws he usually makes. It seemed like he was missing reads because I just don't imagine Cincinnati's defense all of a sudden
It's all
just
world.
right.
They made adjustments. They definitely made adjustments.
But he had time in the pocket. Like it wasn't
Mhm.
all about the pressure. He just seemed frazzled.
Mhm.
That throw he threw to Tyreek Hill seemed to be a reach and not one he
Yeah,
typically throws.
that was a bad throw.
Like a
It was a
50-50 ball in that scenario. It was just it was
Yeah,
bad.
it was third and 7. You just take a shot like it didn't make any sense. So yeah, nah, it's definitely hurts Mahomes' legacy. Um, I mean, dog, you had a Super Bowl locked up.
Pretty much.
Because I think if the Chiefs go into the Super Bowl, it doesn't matter who they playing. I I think that they're the better team. Um, but we got Cincinnati Bengals. Dog, what is this how is this an indictment on the Washington football team? That Joe Burrow, after knee surgery, one season is in the Super Bowl.
I mean, we know Washington fans are pretty stupid, and the organization and the media. People still think that it takes 5 years to rebuild a team, and we talk about it all the time. It doesn't take five off seasons to build a team. You don't need to wait and see 3, 4, 5, 6 years in to decide this ain't the coach. This ain't, you know what I mean? Like this going in the wrong direction. This ain't the GM. And so it does not take that long, particularly when you have a quarterback. But even without the quarterback, it doesn't take that long to go from being trash to progressing to be perennial playoff team.
Mhm.
And the Washington team has regressed, not gotten better, not moved forward. They've regressed. And so I think that's what the indictment is because Cincinnati has always been the only team that had a worse playoff record than Washington and like Detroit,
Mhm.
I think, or something like that going in. But then because Detroit has won a playoff game. So when you remove Cincinnati from that equation and they hadn't won in 20 years, all of a
The
sudden
light
Washington becomes
shining.
the worst playoff team. You become the Bengals.
Yeah, we the Bengals for sure, dog. And now what about this new name, Commanders? Is that stamp?
It's trash. Like they need to go ahead and get this team to Northern Virginia, let them have it, and Jeff Bezos need to go ahead and get an expansion team in DC. This is really Northern Virginia's team. Everything about it is Northern Virginia, dog. Let them have it. Put that joint in Loudoun County, Ashburn, Woodbridge. I don't care where. Put that joint in Virginia and go ahead and
Give
start
them the
over.
old name back and everything. Cause dog, I've been peeping too. Dog, these radio pundits, they think they slick. They out here using the slur again, and they using it like almost like they're referring to the old Washington football teams, and they're using it disrespectfully, like because the outcries died down. So it's like, okay, we can say this again. Like we can talk regular. It's like no respect, dog. No respect. Yeah. I don't think anybody who's anybody. I saw one little betting ticket, but I hate them jumps. Them jumps get on my nerves when I see them betting tickets where Bama had the two teams in the Super Bowl that nobody ever would have thought in a million years would be in the Super Bowl. Like, and then he put down like $20 and win 450K or something crazy, right? That jump disturbs me to the utmost because I'm like, dog, who had the Cincinnati Bengals? The Bengals?
Nobody. Especially with Burrow coming off the ACL, like you were saying.
The Bengals? Nah, not the Bengals, dog. Not the Bengals. And now the Bengals, they up against the Rams. Rams got a squad, dog. Rams got a squad. I think this is Matthew Stafford's year. We had Boy Genius on our team, McVay. Dog, the Bama's a savant, dog. You saw the clip with him reciting the plays from like years past when he was just going
Yeah.
over the plays from years past. Dog, we had this Bama on our roster. You mean to tell me nobody knew this Bama was this good?
The person that did hired him and didn't want everybody, the owner, to know because he was trying to keep a job. Like the Shanahan's, LaFleur. But Dan doesn't like young. He doesn't like that's he wants to be Jerry Jones so bad. Like he wants to be one of them old dinosaurs. So and he's so nostalgic. He wants to hire old guys who were great in the '90s. You know what I mean? Like that's just the way Dan thinks,
It's
and
a
that's his biggest
fail, dog.
weakness.
It's a
Be,
fail.
he doesn't have like a brain that kind of accepts new, fresh ideas or outside of the box of the '90s. Just like Washington fans, run the ball like they were saying that up until 3 years ago here. You know what I mean? Like people just
Yeah.
can't get out of the '90 glory days or the '80s.
Mhm.
It's just
Yeah.
and Dan was a big Redskins fan growing up, so he's kind of stuck in that box as well, where he like look at the coaches he's hired.
Mhm.
Like the resume speaks for itself.
Oh. Who wins this Super Bowl? The Rams or the Cincinnati Bengals? I feel like the Bengals are slight underdogs in this one. I don't know what the spread is, but I could probably look it up. Who you going with?
Who me? The same people I went
Yeah.
with before the season started. When the trade got made.
Matthew Stafford?
And you know I can't stand them. But when the trade was completed, oh, I knew they was getting a chip.
Match made in heaven, huh?
If the Bama's went to the Super Bowl with that bum, Jared Goff, the same thing I said. Imagine what he would be able to do with a competent quarterback who can make all the throws. It's not about Matthew Stafford's greatness because we've seen him struggle for over a
Uh-huh.
decade in Detroit.
He
It's
struggled.
about
He struggled last week. I mean, the week before in the game
yeah,
playing Tampa Bay, they looked like they was about to be out of there.
and it's been
His mind
several
went
games this
scrambled
season
eggs.
where he's struggled, but he's a tier or two tiers above Jared Goff,
Mhm.
and they're loaded. Like we were, they tried to convince us Odell Beckham Jr. was a bum and a problem and a cancer. We
Nah,
said otherwise. Then you look what happened. They traded for Von Miller, and people were trolling early in the year. They did all this for nothing, and then you look up and W
they in the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, just like he told
No,
you
it
before the
just show.
season
It just
started.
show. It just shows that they have competent people and on their staff, starting with McVay.
And this also is, to me, this is a bigger indictment on Washington than Cincinnati. It reminds me of like a bitter woman who dates like one dude that's like in the military. So she said, I ain't never dating another dude in the military. You remember when Washington used to get free agents? They would pick the wrong free agents and come here and be sorry. And then
Mhm.
Washington just went in the other direction. All the fans hated free agency. Like, you got to pick through, build through the draft. You can't do free agency. You know what I mean? You got to pick guys that fit your system. You got to pick guys
Yes.
that are good football players that aren't system guys for other systems. And so, like, this whole city has gone for the last 20 years in the other direction based on the 2001 season and
Mm.
2002 and getting guys in free agency because they picked the wrong players.
Mhm.
Free agency is how you win Super Bowls. You get a couple, like, you get pieces through the draft, but free agency is as important as the
Yeah,
draft and building a championship team.
we
Look at
see it
Tampa
right
Bay.
here.
Look at Tampa Bay last year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the Rams are going to end up winning it this year. Like Cincinnati doesn't have a chance. I know it's cute,
Mhm.
the story, but the
Mhm.
Rams are going to win the chip. So it's just
Dog.
you got a city full of idiots here, dog, with 30 and 40-year-old philosophies, and it just humors me. It's more fun to root against these Bama's now than the last 30 years rooting for these Bama's.
Dog. Yeah. No, McVay made some power moves. They made some trades. I remember they traded. Who did they trade to get the cornerback? Pat Jalen Ramsey. They
Jalen
didn't they
Ramsey,
trade
they gave up like
a
two
draft pick?
ones. Yeah,
So that was the first move. And I know people were like, what? Like he gave up, he got a corner. Then he went ahead and made more trades, got Stafford, gave up Jared Goff. I
and
don't even
one.
know why. And a one was like, we going to the Super Bowl. And that's the thing. Like you could tell he believed in his game plan. Like he had a game plan. He was like, yeah, this is Jones gonna work. And he
And
stuck to it.
he's not threatened by other culture like
Mhm,
the dinosaurs are. You
mhm.
could see him letting Ramsey be Ramsey, being able to connect with him without having to kind of like
Control him.
control him or completely bend his philosophy to be able to connect with a guy. You can see him letting Odell Beckham Jr. be Odell Beckham Jr. and connect with him without having to like put a leash on him or
Mhm.
completely like bend on his philosophy.
That's
The way
key.
it is, because you get the most out of players like that. You're gonna get mistakes, but when you have guys with that kind of talent and that can produce, like they'll show up for you and they'll give that like they'll try their best to like be within the
And,
reins.
and you know too, when you've been able to demonstrate that you're competent and you know what you're talking about,
There it
that
is.
increased the respect level too. Because if you're a player and then like coach is like, hey bro, let's look at the film session. You had, 22 misses. You're like, what? 22 misses? And the Bama's pointing out all the misses right here. You should have been in cover two. We was this blah blah. Like, let's just try to clean that up, man. You the best out here. Like,
And then on top of that, you remember Kevin O'Connell was also on the Washington team, and we're talking about getting the head coaching
mhm,
job. And Dan could have hired him, but he also chose to go the direction of Ron Rivera. And then so it's just hilarious to me when you kind of look at the pieces and the philosophy here with the fans, the media, and the ownership.
Yes, man.
It's dated, and until they get out of that way of operating, um, and we'll see if Dan allows Jason Wright to hire the next head coach, or if he's going to have his hand all in that. Um,
Mhm.
but they have to go a new way.
They
Look at their
have to go in.
coordinators, dog. They got to go a new way.
But you know they're gonna go the same way, dog. Their name is the Commanders, dog.
The next coaching, the next coaching search is what's going to if Jason Wright gets to. First of all, the Washington team has to hire a black head coach and the next head coach. That's what's going to determine to me if these Bams are still going the old way or not. Like the NFC East does not hire black coaches, and it's absurd.
Absurd.
And the
When's the
Giants
last?
clearly,
When's the last black
the
NFL
Eagles,
coach? The Eagles.
they had
Oh,
this is like
Danny
'94.
Green.
No, no, no. They had Rose. What's his name?
Oh, oh.
But it
Let's
was the
see.
Eagles,
What
and it
was
was like
that? Not.
'94.
The spread is 3.5 for the game. So you going with Matthew Stafford and them minus the 3.5.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm gonna go with Cincinnati, dog. I mean, I don't got nothing to lose. I mean, you got the win,
Ray
dog.
Rose.
Ray
Ray Rose.
Rose. Ray Rose.
95 to 98.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with the Cincinnati Bengals
You got to.
just cause got to. Not gonna do much for me. I think I'm more than 10 behind, so it don't matter, dog. Yeah, dog. That's the we down to the end of the season, bro. You know we won't get into a whole bunch of other stuff now. We about to change the whole show format up for the next couple of weeks. We're gonna be talking relationships. We're gonna be talking sports, of course, but we're gonna be lumping in other stuff, other content in here. I'm gonna reach out to Young and see if I can get Slim on here, and we can talk about just the dating world, the dating scene, 2022. I don't know nothing about it, dog. Um, Follow us at OSS980 at Other Side of Sports. Shout out to Where's Buffy podcast. Shout out to Jenna Garcia. Shout out to Sports Talk Tasha. Shout out to my man Van who joined us today. Of course, Sports Reality, Jeremy John, my man. And everybody who follows us. We out. Pray for a brother too. Yeah.